All right, I'm going to start off this video a little differently than the other videos. I'm mirroring my screen and showing you, hi, that it's me. And today I'm going to be going into eBay and I'm going to be showing you my picks for the best values in swords on all of eBay, the best value in Japanese swords, antique Japanese swords on all of eBay. I have time over the week to spend time. I'm always, whenever I can, perusing eBay to find the best deals. And as of what day is it? October what? October 5th, 2024. These are really the best deals on eBay, and I'll show you hopefully now. Okay, so let's go to, not that. Let's go to eBay. All right, and this is my watch list. There's some things on here that aren't swords because I also work on my project car. All right, well, the first sword we have is this listing on eBay, and from this dealer, Jewelry and Coin, you notice here. They have a lot of nice swords routinely. I don't know where they get them, but they do have a lot of nice swords routinely, and this is a pretty good deal. See, they also have a lot of them are best offer. It says $16.95 or best offer. I'm thinking you could possibly get them down to 14 or 1500, which really wouldn't be too bad for this sword. As you can see, it's not in perfect condition, but there's no chips, there's no bends, nicks, anything like that. It's, in Nidus and TLC. It's not signed, but from what I could tell of the polish, it looks at least like it was, it could be Gendaito forge. I don't think it was oil tempered. See, it does look water tempered to me with an interesting Hammond temper line there. And it is in navy kusher, navy fittings, which are more rare than the army fittings. And those fittings look nice and complete also. So I think that's a pretty good deal. Going on to our next deal. Never mind these non-sword things, like I said. I don't know what this one's going to go for, but it is a star stamp Gendaito, and those, typically go for like, I don't know, 15, 16, 1700 maybe or more. And this one looks to be in pretty good shape. It's by Showa 22. I know some people have said a lot of the swords he sells are put togethers, but this one doesn't look really put together, and I don't think there would really be a need anyway. And, scrolling through the pictures, what we can see here is, to me, the signature, and date look authentic, looks fine. And the star stamp there, which signifies a Rikugan Jometosha Smith Gendaito, is pretty confidently stamped. I've heard of these being faked. I have never seen any of the fakes, but I've heard they can be faked. But this star stamp looks pretty confidently stamped. It doesn't look sloppy. It's the right size. It's the right location. So I have a good feeling about that one. And you see the rest of the blade looks pretty good shape too. I have purchased a sword from this seller before, and things were fine. Things have gone pretty well. So it is at $305 now with 4 days left. So I expect this could go to 13, 14, 1500, but I think even at 1600, that's about right. It's a good deal at that point. That's why I added to my watch list. I'm going to keep an eye on it. All right, the next one I have is this one, again by St. Croix Blades. If you'll notice the seller, and as St. Croix Blades sells swords on a website and on eBay, and I know that he's a reputable seller, so they have good stuff. And it's $14.25, which is, I think, a fair price for this sword, this whole ensemble here too. It's an army sword, but I like the promises of the detail in the temper line already, as you can notice. And everything looks right to me here. And again, the tip is not broken. There's no chips. The fittings are intact. The signature's confidently done. And it doesn't look like there was any sort of stamp removed. It needs TLC. It really does. And but I would think this one would be stunning in a new polish, which I would have done by a reputable polisher. But I just think it would look really, really good looking, and it's for a reasonable investment. Going on to the next sword here. It's by Zilvra 10. I don't know who that is, but you see here. And again, it's an army sword. The mounts look original, complete. The blade's not in terrible shape. Not great, but not terrible. And, if you're going to just enjoy this blade as is, this $11.99 or $1,200, this is our best offer. You might be able to get them to $1,000 or a little under. I think for what it is a fair price. It's not bad. I really like this one. This one here. Because it's a cavalry officer's sword. Again, very rare for just being a cavalry officer's Kyugunto. And the silver mon is still intact, as you see there on the back. The blade is, I think, just katana length. Like, just barely katana length. And they'll give you a close-up of the tip, I believe. The tip needs help because it looks like it was broken. Right? You see that tip? And it was reshaped, maybe in the field, maybe by somebody after the war. But it also does look like there's enough boshi left, like more than enough, to take a reshaping of the tip. That would probably mean driving the yokote down a little bit, but that's for the polisher to do and to make look pretty. I don't know if the signature is authentic, but like it says, $2,200 or best offer. I think if you could get them to around $2,000, it would still be a good buy. That would be a good buy, because you'd have very rare mounts and complete with the original blade, meant for the mounts at any rate. And it's not in terrible shape. The rest of the blade, you just need the point fixed, but a polisher can do that and more. So. The other one I have here is, this is an early, it looks, I think, if I remember correctly, it's a Type 8. No, it's a Type 8 or Type 19. No, Type 19, sorry. Type 19 Kyugunto. But the tip looks intact, as you could see. It's not in fantastic shape, but it's really not bad. It has that label, probably surrender tag there. And it really does have that Aisugi Hara, that sinusoidal wave pattern hara to it, which is pretty vibrant, as you see. And this blade's in pretty good shape. It has some marks from use, as you could see, maybe marks made in the war or here, but I guess it says $19.95 for best offer. I think if you can get them to around $1,800, maybe $1,700, that'd be a pretty good deal. That's a nice sword. And then there's this sword, again, by Jewelry and Coin, just like the other two. I think this is, says signed Toshikune 1820. I think because of the year, it's unlikely that this signature would be faked. I am not a Shinsa panel, but I would have a fair amount of confidence. This is by that Smith. I don't know if it's a very well-known smith or like a famous smith or anything, but the blade is complete. It's enjoyable as is. Again, no chips, nicks, bends. Signature looks confidently done. It looks like a package you can enjoy as is, and the price isn't terrible. It's a fair price, I think. It's a good price. Moving on, I think this is actually a good price for this blade too. This looks to be in full polish. It's the right length, and it's $2,030, so around $2,000. Um, and as you can see, it looks to be in full polish or just about. Yeah, see? You see pictures of it. And the tip looks fairly nice. Maybe there's like a tiny tip part taken off the tip. Nice habaki. Shirasai looks nice. Papers look good. So that's why Blade Teak. I've seen them sell other things too that I also thought were like a fair, reasonable price. Moving on, I was gonna skip it, but there's this one. Again, this one really can't be polished, but again, by Jewelry and Coin, $14.95 or best offer. Again, I think if you can get it around 1,300, maybe even 1,400, it'd be worth it because it's pretty rare. It's a Ministry of the Interior, shown in level address sword. It's a pretty rare item, so and it's pretty. It's pretty rare and it's pretty. So that'd be something neat to have. The next one is this one by Antique and Collectible Gallery. I don't know who that is, but $950 or best offer. You might be able to get them down to like $800. Who knows? And it's an original package. The handle has seen better days, obviously, and so has the scabbard to some extent. But the fittings look good. All right, that habaki could, you might have to keep an eye on that. But for $800, it's not terrible. That's about right. If you can get it to like $800 or $750, that wouldn't be bad. Then there's this. I don't even know if I'm going to click on it. You see this Japanese colonial Korean official sword. It's rare, so all right, I'll click on it. It's pretty rare, and it's pretty well detailed. It's complete and original. Nothing's destroyed. So it's one of those things that would be maybe neat to have. This is a pretty good deal too, especially because it does come again with the updated yellow papers. It says $21.99, so $2,200 or best offer. Hey, maybe you can get them around $2,000, right? And as I recall, the polish looks to be in pretty good shape on this one. It is Soryage or Soryage. I don't know which one, but I mean it's been shortened or greatly shortened, but I don't know how much. I don't know if I like the Hammond really, but you could see detail in the grain and the Hammond. And again, there's no chips, bends, nicks, rust spots, none of that. It's in pretty good condition, and it comes with papers for $2,200 or around $2,000. That's actually a pretty good deal. And moving along, oh, that's an American sword. I'll keep an eye on that. And this is Minty Koto. By Sohei Swords. Sohei Swords is reputable also. Again, it says $2,850 or best offer. Maybe you can get them to $2,500. The advantage of that is it's already in mounts that look pretty nice, and the blade itself is in good shape too, as you could see. I personally like Suryage or Osuryage swords that have been shortened. I think they have a history to them. It's just my preference. But maybe others will have a different preference. And again, you can see it's in a pretty good state of polish. Maybe not absolutely perfect, but pretty good. And it comes in mounts already. You could just, ready to display. It's ready to display, basically ready to go or show off or whatever for $2,850 or a little lower. So it's actually a pretty good deal. And then there's this one. I believe this one is located in Japan, though. Alice, Japan, yeah. $1,450 or best offer. Not bad. Maybe you can get them a little lower. It does have the green papers, which aren't as reputable as the other yellow papers, but, if there's no, I don't know if there's a signature on this one. Yeah, Mume, there's no signature. So if there's no signature anyway, you're buying the blade, not the signature. And this one is in Shirasai, but as you can see, the state of polish looks pretty good. It's a authentic samurai sword. And in pretty good polish, you can enjoy all the details for $1,450 or lower. Again, pretty good deal. The only issue with buying something from Japan is the wait time. If you're impatient, that may not be for you. The last time I bought a sword from Japan years ago, it took a few months. By the time the export paperwork is done and they're going to get around to ship it, and they tend to do things a lot more by the book in Japan with that sort of thing. But at least the book allows you to ship things out, and it's not like, getting something into Great Britain. This one looks interesting. I'm going to have to go with their description. I don't know better. Again, by Jewelry and Coin. They always have interesting Japanese swords. I don't know where they get these things. But it says rare Meiji period Tachi police mounts. It really does look like it has an interesting story to tell. And I've never seen these mounts before. They could be completely unique. It says $24.95 for best offer. So, around $2,500, you might be able to get it for like $2,200, $2,300, which could be a good deal for something that's pretty rare. So, again, this is the first time in 20-something years of collecting that I've seen anything like this. So, could be a good deal. Check that out. Moving on, these are Manuki that I like. And here's Hizen Masatsugu Gendaito. It says, again, 1,800. You might be able to get them down 1,500, 1,600. And like I described with that other Gendaito, it's not a bad deal. That's actually pretty good. And the mounts look, all right, they're a little used up. See, you see like somebody was tearing out the handle or something. But they don't look to be in terrible shape. The Ito, the wrap there is still complete. And I thought somebody picked off a Manuki. Manuki, but no. All right, and you see the blade's in pretty good shape. I don't see any nicks. There's no cuts, no huge scratches. The tip isn't destroyed. It's well and confidently signed. And, it gives a reference here. I forget what book that is, but it gives a reference here. It may be Hawley's book. And again, if you can get it for $1,800 or a little lower, that's pretty good. It's not bad. That's about right for this kind of sword, and it's truly impressive. All right, moving on again. I don't want to make this video too crazy long. I know some of you might be saying it's too late. This is, I don't know if I'm going to click on it. This Meiji Japanese diplomatic dress sword. All right, I'll click on it so you can tell where it's from. Minty, published, meaning I think this one is either in Dawson's book or the other book. And for the price, or a little lower, it is pretty nice because, and rather rare. So, if you're into the tantos, the Japanese knives, more than the swords, I thought this one was a pretty good deal. Again, it would need a polish to fully be appreciated. But for $695 or best offer, might be able to get them down to like $550 or maybe even $5 if they're desperate. It's a really good price. All right, it's missing the Kazuka. But, you could oil this up. Again, though, polishing. But you could oil it up, I think, to look pretty nice. And what you'd have for about $1,000 is an authentic antique samurai or Japanese at any rate knife, dagger, so that's worth checking out. Again, car parts, sorry. And this sword I liked, Osirage Katana. It's by Uzu Nihanto, who has sold other things that I found to be sold at pretty reasonable, fair prices. Again, $13.85, $30 shipping. That's not bad. One other person has this in their cart. Fine, I understand. These mounts look like somebody had used them for Iaido practice, and maybe is using something else now, or selling it for some reason, because it looks like a rewrap on the handle, and it was, swung around or used. I don't think it was abused, though, as you could see from the state of polish. Another thing that leads me to think maybe it was used for Iaido practice is this. See, this scuffs towards the Manuchi area. They call it that Manuchi area near there. That doesn't look like anything bad. It looks like it was it chopped something, but something not crazy hard. And looks like it has lengthwise scratches from being put into and out of the saya. Again, I think from EI practice. So, but again, it's not a bad price. And this is another dagger, the Tanto, from the same jewelry and coin, as you notice. $9.95 for best offer. If you can get them to like $8.50, it's a pretty attractive ensemble. I think it's enjoyable as is. You could have it repolished. I could tell already. See, it looks like a decent, and actually a pretty active temper from there. So if you could have it polished, I think it would look rather nice. And it's signed. Again, I am not a Shinsa panel. I don't know if the signature is legitimate. And I bookmarked this one because I wouldn't get it because I bought one of these a while ago for far less money, but it was a long time ago. It's a Navy prison guard shore patrol sword. And those are identified by, as you see the anchor here, matching, and they'll show you the anchor here. Now just bear in mind, if you do get one of these or look at this, and this isn't a bad price for this either, those two anchors should match, meaning the anchor design on the handle should match the anchor design here on the scabbard. If it doesn't, something's amiss. It doesn't have to match exactly like a carbon copy print, but it should match, meaning like the rope should be going the same way, and the engraving of the anchor should be the same way. There's this one, price drop. Yeah, I no wonder why, because it was, again, Military Awards and More as a seller. It was $23.50, which I thought was a little high. They have come down. I think it's a pretty fair price now. And again, it's in Navy mounts, which are more rare because most of the Navy swords are at the bottom of the Pacific. So here we are. And as you could see, the blade is, again, no, nicks, cracks, none of that. Straight. There's nothing wrong with the tip. Doesn't look like acid etched or anything. Just an honest, samurai sword. So, in rare Navy mounts. So for that price is actually pretty fair. There's this sword I have. Sorry, this video is turning out to be long. I didn't know I had all these bookmarked. Well, you can come back to it if you want, or just speed me up. Speed up the video. So this one, I don't know about these fittings, meaning the Tsuba looks nice. The Fuchi, I can't tell whether that's reproduction or not. And this blade, I can't tell from here. My guess is Shinto. It's newer. Again, the fittings, not great, but the blade is in pretty good shape. And it looks very stout. It's not in terrible shape. And again, I like the Tsurayagi swords. And $17.49, or best offer, you might be able to get them to around $1,500. That would be pretty good. Not a bad deal. And this is another one from Jewelry and Coin. Rare Japanese early inspector officer sword. And, as you could see, this is the kind of sword, you see the Mikugi there, where the blade does come out. It's not fixed into there. So this is a usable weapon. And pretty rare. I haven't seen another one quite like this, or at least not too many, in all my years of collecting. So it says $12.95 for best offer. If you can get them to around $1,100, if you're lucky, maybe around $1,000. That's pretty good. I just like collecting the military swords more than the police swords. And if you don't know the difference between those, look it up in Dawson's book, Dawson's most recent book. It's a very good book. And this one is very, very rare. It looks very plain. It doesn't look like much. Probably in hand, it doesn't even look like much. But it is a warrant officer sword Again, from Sohei Swords for sale. $950 or best offer. Maybe you get it for like $850, $800 if you're really lucky. And what you would have is something that's not terribly pretty, but exceedingly rare. So there's that. All right, we'll go over this one first and then the other one, and I'll tell you why in a few moments. This is a Type 19 Court field grade. So this isn't a company grade. This is a field grade court sword. So it's very fancy, as you can see, rather fancy, and rather rare too. It's very nice. It's very impressive, and I bet it would be very impressive in hand. And $595 or best offer. Maybe you can get them like around 500, maybe even lower than 500. That's a pretty good deal. But never mind that tassel. See that red thing? That's this tassel. Oh, it's not a tassel. That's a label. I'm sorry. I thought it was a tassel. But if you ever see a tassel like that, and it's like really bright, yeah, that's not original. All right, so last but not least, getting to this one, I think, ta-da, say the best for last. This is the best deal on eBay, maybe the whole internet, really. And I have scoured around that much. This one, if I had the money, I would buy this. And, I probably have the money, but I can't. I just bought another sword. I can't buy this and, like, still live here and eat and everything. So I'd be in trouble. But it says antique Japanese sword by this seller I don't recognize. But they have 100% positive feedback and 1,003 sales. This seems like a seller who's probably not used to selling swords or weapons. So, they looked around for comparables and listed it fairly. I think it's pretty fair. The blade looks to be in really good shape. It's Q Gunto mounts with the silver family Mon intact. See, as you see, it looks original to the outfit and the sword. It has, I guess, what would amount to a Shirasaya there, And looking at pictures of the blade, I'm not seeing many errors or flaws. It looks to be in a good state of polish. I don't see chips. I don't see issues with the point. I see actually grain. Look at that. I think this is perfectly enjoyable as is. You wouldn't even have to have this repolished. I mean, it's a little, it's seen some use, as you could see from the Shinogi-Ji there. But I don't see any fatal flaws that would relegate it to the waste bin, So, and again, as Tsurayage or maybe Tsurayage, this is just a beautiful package ensemble. It's beautiful altogether, katana length, and I think this price is more than fair, just right off the bat. I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up tomorrow morning, or even like I looked at it tonight and this was just sold. So, again, my top pick for now is this one. I recommend this right here. That being said, we're going to get out of there. We'll go back to the video. I hope this is working. And I'll end it here. And, well, thanks for sticking with me for that long. But hopefully next time I'll have more picks and maybe, I'll weed out or show you what's sold and what it's sold for. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.